want to show you a little bit about 1-point perspective. 1-point perspective is just that. It is the lines that are going back into the distance converge into 1 point. What usually you'll see is a horizon line. I'm going to do a tack trunk, keep in line with my horse theme that I usually do use. So there's my horizon line. Horizon line is a horizontal line. And then I'm going to just put one vanishing point on it. Okay, this is going to be in front of a stall, and I haven't done it yet, haven't done the stall yet, so just bear with me. This will be a tack trunk. So in a perfect world, you would have a T-square, which would slide up and down your paper, and a triangle that would have a vertical side to it. But in this situation, I'm going to show you how to do it without a T-square. Most people don't have a T-square. Your eyes are amazing tools, and your brain is an amazing tool. It will tell you that line is wrong. So I'm just going to do, I can line this up with the bottom of my paper, and it would tell me that it would be completely, the line would be perpendicular to the bottom of my paper. But what I'm going to do is just, I'm going to shift it up a little bit. I'm going to make the trunk, and it's just going to be a rectangle. And no, it's probably going to be far from perfect. So this is a 6B pencil. I would say use a 2B or an H or even a 2H, something that would draw a much lighter line. I'm drawing a darker line so you can see it. So there's the bottom. You're going to want your lines to be vertical and horizontal for this box. And I might have to put my head in the way a little bit. I have my camera up over the top of my head, so it's almost as if you were looking over my shoulder. You may see some crooked lines here, so forgive me for that, but you're going to get the gist of the idea. So this is going to be my tack trunk that would be sitting in front of a stall. And then, you know, it's split here where the lid rises off of it. And there are different latches, and you can do your kind of latches that are on your trunk or one that you're imagining. Some have 2 latches, one on each side. Some have one here in the center. Some have all 3. So I think I'll just put, maybe I'll just put 2 here. And what's fun about the front of the trunk is that it's just a sketch, and it's the front. So everything's flat. And it won't really matter what it looks like at all. It won't matter at all. If you want to measure and get all into that, you can do that. So just going to put a couple of little locks on there, and you can put, like, maybe you can write your name on it or whatever. You could put something here in the middle. It's going to be all up to you. So you can do whatever you want to, but I don't want to focus in on that. You can get real elaborate on that. Now my vanishing point is here. Okay, and I also think I'd like to put a bale of hay on this side. So I'm gonna, the bale of hay is generally smaller than your trunk. I have different size tack trunks. Some are tall and long, and some are much shorter. The ones that I take to the show, the one that I take to the show is much shorter. It's my favorite one, really. I learned that from my riding instructor. So I'm gonna make a bale of hay. And bales of hay also come in different sizes, but I'm going to do the kind of bale that we bale here. It's about a 45-pound bale. And doing my line perpendicular. So I've got it, the gist of it set. So there's my bale, and there is my trunk. Now I can do my texture on the bale where the hay, you know what the hay looks like on the side is kind of wriggly and jiggly and all of that. So you can do that if you want to. And even here, like, I could write my horse's name on there. And you can get real elaborate with your lettering. I'm not going to do that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop back from the corners to the vanishing point. I'm not going to draw these lines real dark, because if I do, they're going to carve into my paper, and then it's going to be hard to erase. So I'm just going to drag them a little light back there. And from the corner to the vanishing point, from the corner to the vanishing point, and from the corner to the vanishing point, but I don't need to do that. It's not a transparent box. I'll do it so you can see what it looks like, but you don't need to because you can't see through a bale of hay. So there's my bale of hay back to the vanishing point. And then what I'm going to do is figure out my width of my hay. Say about here, be that wide. Divide it off. I want my lines to run parallel. All right. I don't want a crooked line. If the line is crooked, you will see it. Your lines, parallel lines, they just keep running and they never connect. So if it's tilted, it's not parallel. It's like a railroad track. They never will connect if they run parallel. And then from here, I'll just drop this line down vertically. What I'm doing is I'm eyeballing it next to this line. I can see that it'll be pretty parallel to that. It's a little crooked. Bear with me. We're not going so much for perfect. I just want you to see how this is done. Now I can go in with my eraser and I can erase out these lines that I don't need anymore. So I'm going to pull these lines out. And often I'll tell my students, don't even drive your lines all the way back to the vanishing point, because if it's a situation where you don't need them all the way back to the vanishing point, you just don't drive them all the way back there. That's more for you to erase. So I'm all for pressing the easy button. I don't think you have to work so hard. Now here for the tack trunk, I'm going to draw from this corner back to the vanishing point, and this corner back to the vanishing point. And my tack trunk, I would say, is probably gonna be a little wider than the bale of hay. And I'm just gonna cut it off here. Okay, and then erase out. I can't see the other two corners. If I want to, I could put another tack trunk here, which I would think I will, so I can show you this. I'll put another tack trunk right next to it so you can see it. See what I'm trying to show you. I'm going to shorten it up a little bit. I want you to see the side, how I would attack the side of this. It's hard to erase these lines once they go in, so just don't press too hard. I need to press a little harder so that you can see what I'm doing on the video. Now I can tell my tack trunk is gonna end somewhere around where this one did, so I'm not going to drive it all the way back. And this one's going to line up this corner with this, with that dot there, and drive it back. So I can cut the top of this off, and my line is already crooked, I could see that. And then I'll draw my line down behind it like this. Now this box has a separation where the lid is. If I get quiet, it's because I have to concentrate sometimes. I can't always talk through drawing. It gets tricky sometimes. And then I need to draw this line on the side back too, because that's the lid. It goes to the whole top. Draw it back, and then from there, draw it back. And you can also add a handle, which the handle would be, the side of the handle would start here, and it's going to hide halfway between that box and this one. There can be the handle right there, if this is making sense. And I can draw the lines, the two top of the lines that are the strings on the top of the bale of hay. And the strings sometimes are crooked, so you don't have to be so picky about the strings. They kind of squeeze the bale a little bit, so the bale kind of pushes out from there. So you can put in your hay. You can even puff up your hay a little bit in between the strings, like that. You can use the edge of your pencil and you can add in some of that texture. You can have pieces of hay sticking out a little bit. You can get a little bit busier with your pencil and move things around a little bit. Make the hay stick out. It's kind of scruffy, and you know when you brush against it how it feels. It's really rough. Unless it's second cut and it's much softer. I like to feed mostly first cut. My horses are easy keepers. This particular pair of horses I have are very easy keepers. I'm going to darken those lines a little bit for the hay bale. Add some of these lines coming out. Okay, so the front of the stall, I won't have to worry about my vanishing point anymore. I can do the front of the stall. It could be just boards that come straight across. I can use my ruler or not. And you know how the boxes sit a little lower than the stall in most cases, unless they're really gigantic, which I don't have such a thing, but you can draw whatever kind of box you have. I do have a feed box that's quite tall, and the wood that goes across in front of the stalls. You can draw that down. And I did plan on having a horse's head peeking over the stall, but I didn't get there. Let's see, where would I put a window? I was going to have it over here on this side, but I have a box in the way now, so let's see, where can I put it? I'll just, you know, there are some stalls that have openings that aren't particularly doors, so I don't have to worry about that. I'll just put some bars up using the edge of my pencil. Just, you can use your ruler if you want to. This part can be a door or just an opening like we were talking about, and you could just put in a horse's head here. I used a small paper so that would fit onto my video for you. So you can put in your horse's head here. So you can get the idea where you're going to need perspective sometimes. So I hope you enjoyed this particular video. I'm out here in my art stable. It's pretty cold outside tonight. So when you're done drawing, you can even put buckets in here, that sort of thing. Throw in a bucket, put an angle, then oval here. And you could even hang a handle coming down. There's a bucket. You can cast a shadow off on the side if you want to. You cast shadows from your trunks sitting here. You could hang blankets off of the wall. There's lots of things you can do here. It's a lot of fun. You could even just put a saddle pad or something, have something hanging here real easy. Make a plaid. You can have a lot of fun with this. Put a brush on here. So have a little bit of fun. So when you're done, just sign your name. Something that I did not do very much as a kid. So there it is. I hope this helped you a little bit with 1-point perspective. It's very basic. I think I might even go in and outline these lines a little darker for you to see. I just looked up on my camera, and it looks like this could be a little darker so you can see the lines a little bit better. If you want to, you can curve your trunk too by just adding a little bit of curve to the edges. You can curve the top or even the bottom too if you wanted to, just by curving your edges. Okay, I hope this shows up well so that you can see what I'm talking about. Right there's your trunk, a bale of hay, blanket, add some shading. Have a little bit of fun with this. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed yourself. Hope it gives you a little bit of a challenge. 1 point perspective, just one thing you can do with 1 point perspective. If you have any questions, message me. I'd love to hear how you did. Goodbye. Have a good night from the Art Stable.